He left me a note, just sitting there by an empty cup. It said he was gone, and the farm was all mine now. I checked every single room, calling his name over and over, but his truck was gone and his closet was totally empty. As the sun went down, the fields looked so empty and cold. That's when it hit me. The debt, the farm, it was all on me now. I walked into the barn, and the smell of damp hay was everywhere. I kept thinking about how Arthur spent all his time working on that platform. His study was finally open, but it smelled like old paper and something metallic. I found his desk full of maps and this old, worn journal. The journal was full of notes about rocks and soil samples. Then I saw it, a sketch of the barn with a note saying the legend was true. I pried up the concrete slab, and it moved with a heavy groan. Underneath, there was a dark, narrow shaft leading down into the earth. I climbed down into the dark, and the air felt cold and heavy. At the bottom, the walls were glowing with gold. He left me to fail, thinking I'd just give up and walk away. But he was wrong, because I'm not going anywhere. I started working the mine every single day, no matter how tired I got. My hands got calloused, but I was finally taking control of my own life. I spent hours by the creek, watching the water wash away the dirt. Every tiny glimmer in the pan feels like a small victory against his betrayal. The barn has become my workshop, my furnace, and my secret vault. I'm turning his hidden curse into my own quiet security. Sometimes I talk to the walls just to hear a human voice. I keep replaying our last days, trying to find the moment he decided to leave me behind. Every car that passes on the road makes my heart stop. I'm constantly looking over my shoulder, waiting for someone to come and take what I've fought so hard to find. Whew. The wind is howling, and the whole barn is groaning under the weight of the snow. I won't let this place fall. Not now, not when I'm so close to finally being free. It's finally time to see if this is all real. I've got enough here to pay off the bank and start over. The appraiser doesn't even look at me, just the gold. When the money hits my account, I finally feel like I can breathe again. He didn't go to some exotic paradise. He just started over, like I never even existed. He thought he was saving me by leaving me with the farm. He was just a scared man, running from his own ghosts. I'm not the same person who stood here a year ago. I didn't just survive the impossible, I conquered it. I walk through these rooms now, and the silence doesn't feel so heavy anymore. It's funny how a place that once felt like a tomb can start to feel like a home again. I put in the work to keep this place standing, and it held up. It's stronger now than it ever was when Arthur was here. The gold is still down there, waiting in the dark. I don't need to chase it anymore. I just keep it as my own little insurance policy. The fields are finally starting to look like something again. It's not a massive farm, but it's enough to keep me going. I used to spend my days lost in books, living other people's stories. Now, I'm living my own. And it's a hell of a lot tougher than anything I ever read. I don't need to read these anymore to understand why he left. His fear was his own, and I'm done carrying it for him. This land has seen a lot, and it's seen me through the worst of it. We've both got our scars, but we're still standing. There's something about a fire that just makes everything feel right. It's the little things that make this place feel like home. I've got everything I need right here. I'm finally at peace with the past, and I'm ready for whatever comes next. They say you can't outrun your past, but maybe you can just build something better on top of it. I'm Elara, and this is my life now. I look up at these old beams and realize they've seen more than I ever will.
They've held up through storms and secrets, just like I've had to.
This spot used to feel like a trap, a place where secrets were buried. Now it's just part of the foundation, a reminder that I'm the one in charge. The air out here feels different now, lighter somehow. I finally feel like I'm breathing on my own terms. Every row I plant is a little victory against the weeds.
It's hard work, but it's honest and it's mine.
I used to be so afraid of the silence out here.
Now, I think I've finally learned how to listen to it.
This place isn't just a farm anymore. It's the home I built from the wreckage. Everything looks different in this light. The past is still there, but it doesn't own me anymore. I've got everything I need right here. And for the first time in a long time, that's enough. It's not much, but it's mine, and I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. Could you have done it? Could you have turned your own betrayal into something this strong? I used to dread the mail, but now it's just paper. Every bill is paid, and the farm is finally mine. This place used to feel like a prison. Now it's just home. The secret is still down there, buried deep. But it doesn't own me anymore. I built this life from the wreckage, and I'm not going anywhere. This tree has seen it all. The fear, the doubt, and the final victory. My hands used to be soft. Now they're strong enough to hold my own future. It's quiet now. And for the first time, that quiet feels like peace. I made it through, and I'm still here. I'm still me, but I'm so much more than I was. This is my legacy, and it's a story I'm still writing. I still look at this spot sometimes. It's where my old life ended and a much harder one began. I used to dread coming out here. Now it's just part of the routine. People see a sagging old barn. I see the place that forced me to wake up. The land doesn't look so wild anymore. I finally made it mine. This tree has seen me at my absolute worst. It's still standing, and so am I. My hands used to be soft from turning pages. Now they're just proof that I can handle anything. The shadows don't look like threats anymore. They're just part of the day ending. I'm finally at peace with the silence. It's not empty anymore. It's just mine. I still love the stories, but I'm living my own now. And it's a hell of a story. I didn't just survive the impossible. I conquered it. I used to think this barn was just a place of decay. But standing here now, I realize it was hiding something much bigger. The concrete slab looked so innocent, just a patch for stability. But those pry marks, they told a completely different story. I wedged the crowbar in and pulled with everything I had. The concrete groaned, and then it finally gave way. I shined the light down into the darkness. It wasn't just a hole. It was a makeshift mine. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it would burst. I climbed down, step by careful step, into the unknown. The shaft opened up into a small, hidden chamber. And then I saw it. It was everywhere. Veins of gold threaded through the rock. Arthur had been here, digging up a fortune while I struggled to survive. Pickaxes, shovels, buckets. He had been mining this place for months. The betrayal was absolute. He didn't just leave me. He set me up to fail. He wanted me to walk away so he could come back for this. I won't let his fear or his greed define me. I'm gonna take this gold, I'm gonna save this farm, and I'm gonna survive. I climbed out of that hole feeling like a different person. The barn didn't feel like a prison anymore. It felt like a vault. I had to figure out how to handle this. and I had to do it fast. I sat there for hours, just reading his notes. Every page was filled with his obsession, his secret life. I needed to know how he did it, how he kept this hidden for so long. I wasn't a farmer, but I was going to learn.
I found some old tools in the shed that were just gathering dust.
It was going to be hard, but I didn't have another choice.
Every swing of the pickaxe felt like a strike against him.
My hands were getting torn up, but I didn't care. I was finally taking back what was mine. The creek was the only place I could be sure no one would see me. I spent hours panning through the dirt, hoping for a sign. It was slow, tedious work, but I had to be patient. There it was, just a tiny speck of gold. It wasn't much, but it was everything. I knew then that I could actually pull this off. The silence started to get to me after a while. I found myself talking to the walls, just to hear a voice. I wondered if he ever thought about what he left behind. Every little sound made me jump. I was always looking over my shoulder, waiting for someone to show up. I couldn't trust anyone, not even the wind. The storm was brutal, but I wasn't going to let the barn fall. I spent days out there in the cold, fixing the beams. It was my fortress now, and I had to keep it standing. I finally had enough to make a real difference. It wasn't a fortune, but it was enough to breathe again. I had survived, and I was finally free. I wrapped the gold in soft cloth, feeling its weight in my hands. It was time to finally leave the farm and face the world again. The road ahead felt endless, but I couldn't turn back now. Every mile put more distance between me and the ghost of my past. The appraiser didn't say much, just kept weighing the gold. I held my breath, praying this was enough to finally be free. When the money hit my account, I felt like I could finally breathe again. I was free, and for the first time in a year, I felt like myself. I needed to know where he went and who he was now. Waiting for that report was the hardest part of the whole thing. He hadn't gone to some paradise. He'd just started over. It was all there in black and white, a life he chose over me. He was so scared of the gold. He thought it was a curse. He really believed he was saving me by leaving me behind. There was no point in reaching out to him now. I let the fire take the last of his excuses. The barn is quiet now, and the secret is mine to keep. I've turned this place into something I can finally call my own. I'm not the same person who stood here a year ago. I've survived the impossible, and I'm ready for whatever comes next. I walk these fields every morning now. The fences are holding up just fine. It's finally starting to feel like home. I kept my books, even if I'm not a librarian anymore. There's a quiet rhythm to the days now. I don't mind the silence like I used to. The garden's finally giving back what I put in. It's funny how much you learn when you're forced to. I'm not the same person who arrived here 10 years ago. Some things are better left buried. I don't need to go back down there. A secret is safe, and so am I. I used to wonder what would happen next. Now, I'm the one deciding what happens. It's a good feeling, being in control. No more waiting for letters that never come. I'm done looking for ghosts. The only thing that matters is what's right here. I planted these when I first started. They're finally blooming, just like I am. Everything takes time, I guess. I'm writing my own story now. It's not about the gold or the betrayal. It's about how I made it through. I'm ready for whatever's next. I've got everything I need right here. I'm finally free.
Could you have done it?
Could you have found the strength to rebuild? I did, and that's all that matters. I stood there, looking at that platform. It wasn't about stability at all. He was just hiding what he was really doing. My hands were shaking, but I didn't stop. I jammed the crowbar into the crack. It was time to see the truth. The concrete groaned and finally gave way. A cold, metallic smell rushed up at me. I shined my light into the dark. I started climbing down into the hole. The old timbers creaked under my weight. Every step felt like a gamble. I reached the bottom and looked around. Then I saw it, glittering in the rock. It was gold, everywhere I looked. He knew all along, didn't he? He left me to drown in debt. This wasn't just abandonment. It was a trap. I picked up his pickaxe. It felt heavy, but it felt right. I wasn't gonna let him win. I started to swing. Every hit felt like taking my life back. I was done being the victim. I finally climbed back out. I had a little bit of gold in my pocket. It was just the beginning. The farm looked different now. It wasn't a prison anymore. It was my home, and I was gonna keep it. I spent every waking hour digging through old mining manuals. My hands were changing, getting rougher with every passing day. I was learning to be a miner, whether I liked it or not. The old stove in the shed became my makeshift furnace. It was dangerous work, but I had to make it happen. Whew, the heat was a welcome change from the biting cold outside. Every night, I went back down into the dark. My body ached, but the rhythm kept me going. There was a strange kind of peace in the silence down there. The creek water was freezing, but I couldn't stop now. I watched the sediment wash away, hoping for a sign. And there it was, that unmistakable, beautiful shimmer. It wasn't much, just a few grams of gold. But to me, it was everything. It was proof that I wasn't crazy, and that I could actually do this. I started talking to myself, just to hear a voice. I kept replaying our last days, trying to find the truth. Was he really that scared? Or was he just running away? Every little sound made me jump. I was always watching the road, waiting for someone to show up. I was terrified that he'd come back for what he left behind. The storm was brutal, and the barn was barely holding on. I spent days fighting to keep the roof from caving in. I realized then, this place wasn't a burden anymore. After a year of hell, I finally had enough. It wasn't a fortune, but it was enough to breathe again. I was finally standing on my own 2 feet. I drove hundreds of miles to sell the gold. I used a fake name in a made-up story. When the money hit my account, I finally felt free. With the money finally in the bank, I felt like I could breathe again. I hired a private investigator to find out where Arthur actually went. The waiting was the hardest part, just wondering if he'd ever be found. So the report finally came in, and it was exactly what I feared. He hadn't been kidnapped or lost. He just started over. He had a new name, a new life, and a new partner, all without me. There was a letter in the file, one he never actually sent. He wrote to his new partner about the farm and the gold. He was convinced that the gold was a curse that would ruin us both. Reading his words, I finally understood why he really left. He thought he was protecting me by leaving me behind with the farm. It was all just fear, a twisted way of trying to save us both. I decided not to reach out. There was no point anymore. He'd already chosen his life, and I had finally built mine. I didn't need his apology. I had my own strength now. The farm doesn't feel like a prison anymore. It's my home. I fixed up the house and made it my own. The barn still holds its secrets, but I'm the one in control now. I still work the mine, but I do it on my own terms. It's not about getting rich. It's about having the freedom to choose.
Every day is a choice, and I'm choosing to stay right here.
This secret is mine, and I'm keeping it that way.
It was a long road, but it made me who I am today.
The gold, the farm, it's all part of my legacy now. I didn't just survive. I conquered everything that tried to break me. Looking out over these fields, I finally feel at peace. I'm not the same person I was when he left.
Could you have done it if you were in my shoes?
Could you find the strength to rebuild when everything falls apart? The past is always there, but it doesn't have to define your future. I walk through these rooms now, and they finally feel like mine. The silence isn't heavy anymore. It's just peaceful. Every fence post I fixed is a reminder of what I can do. I'm not just surviving out here anymore. I'm actually living. The barn still holds its secrets, but they don't scare me like they used to. It's just wood and stone now, nothing more. I used to think this place was a tomb. Now I know it's a fortress. This old tree has seen everything I've been through. It's still standing, and so am I. I remember the day I found that girl. I was so scared. I didn't know who I was anymore. The gold is still down there, but it doesn't own me. I own my life now. The sun's going down on another good day. I've earned this peace. I'm ready for whatever comes next. I'm not afraid anymore. This is my legacy now. And I'm just getting started. I used to sit here and just shake. Now the numbers don't scare me anymore. This land was dying when he left. I guess it just needed someone who actually cared. I spent so many nights out here just terrified. It's funny how the things that break us can also build us. It's still down there, waiting. But I don't need it to define me anymore. My hands used to be so soft. Now they're calloused, but they're strong. I built this life from the wreckage, and I'm proud of every single piece. He thought I'd fail. He never knew what I was capable of. This is my home now, and I'm not going anywhere. Finally, some peace. I think I've earned it. I'm still here, and I'm not going anywhere. The creek at the edge of the property became my sanctuary. It was here that I finally saw the fruits of my labor. Every shimmer in the pan felt like a victory over the past. I decided to leave the chamber sealed for good. It's a monument to the struggle I finally put behind me. The barn doesn't feel like a prison anymore. I used to think this land was a curse. Now I see it as the foundation of my own life. It's funny how things change when you stop running. The house is finally quiet again. I can finally enjoy the peace I always wanted. It's a good life, and it's all mine. I don't need his answers anymore. I found my own truth in the dirt and the gold. He's just a ghost now, and I'm still here. I never thought I'd be a farmer. But there's something about growing your own food that changes you. It's honest work, and it keeps me grounded. This well used to be a source of frustration. Now it's just a part of the farm's history. I've come a long way from the librarian I used to be. The future is mine to define. I'm not afraid of what's coming next. I've survived the impossible, and I'm ready for anything. I'm writing my own story now. It's not about the gold or the betrayal. It's about the woman I became along the way. I've conquered the impossible, and I'm just getting started. This is my life, and I'm finally free. I used to think this land was just a place of decay. Now, every tree and stone feels like a part of my own story. It's funny how things change when you stop running. The barn doesn't scare me anymore. It's just wood and nails now. And a whole lot of history I've finally made my own. I don't need to dig anymore. The gold is there, But it's not the point. The real treasure was finding out who I actually am. It's a new day, and for the first time in years, it's mine. No more secrets, no more hiding. Just me, this farm, and a future I'm finally building. I used to be a librarian, living in the quiet order of books. Now I'm a farmer, living in the quiet order of the land. It's a different kind of peace, but it's mine. I'm writing it all down, not for anyone else, but for me. To remember the struggle and to celebrate the strength, because I made it through. The farm is thriving, and so am I. It wasn't easy, but nothing worth having ever is. I'm finally home. There's always work to be done, but that's okay. I've got the strength to handle it now, and I've got the peace to enjoy it. Look at this. Everything is growing. It's amazing what you can do when you just keep going. I'm proud of this place, and I'm proud of me. I'm Elara, and this is my story. I didn't just survive, I thrived, and I'm just getting started. I used to look at this old thing and just see a broken promise. Now it's just a machine that needs a little bit of my time. The creek was my only witness during those long, dark nights. It kept my secrets safe while I worked for my freedom. Sometimes I still find myself looking for that familiar shimmer. It's funny how the things that save you never really leave you. I used to feel like a ghost in my own home. Now, every floorboard and every window feels like it belongs to me. This room used to be his sanctuary, full of his secrets. Now, it's just a place where I can finally breathe. I'm not writing about the past anymore. I'm writing about what comes next. The farm is finally at peace, and so am I. It took everything I had, but I made it through. I remember standing here, feeling like my world was ending. Now I see a world that's just beginning. I'm ready for whatever comes next. I've earned this life, and I'm not letting it go. It's my secret now. And that's exactly how it's going to stay. I stood there in the quiet, looking at the floor he'd built. Those excuses about stability were just a way to keep me away. The silence felt different now, like it was holding its breath. I knelt down and felt the edges of the concrete. Those pry marks were so faint, but I knew what they meant. I gripped the crowbar, ready to finally see what was underneath. The concrete shifted with a heavy, grinding sound. A dark void opened up right beneath my feet. The air that came up was cold and smelled like deep, wet earth. I started climbing down into the darkness. The walls were shored up with old, rotting timbers. It felt like I was leaving my old life behind with every step. The chamber opened up, and I saw it. The walls were glittering with gold. I couldn't believe what he'd been hiding right under our feet. I reached out and touched the cold, hard rock. There were tools everywhere, covered in dust. He'd been working this place for months, maybe years. The anger hit me like a physical blow. He left me with nothing but debt, while he kept this. It was all just a sick, calculated game to him. I remembered what he wrote in that journal. He was so scared of some old family curse. But that fear was just an excuse for what he really was. I wasn't gonna let him win. He thought he could just leave me to rot here. But he didn't know what I was capable of. I picked up a piece of the gold. It felt heavy and real in my hand. I was ready to go back up and start my new life. I climbed out of that hole, covered in dust and grit. I slid the slab back into place, sealing the secret away. The barn didn't feel like a tomb anymore. It felt like my fortress. I sat down at the kitchen table, my mind racing with ideas. I started digging through the internet for anything on gold extraction. The fear of the bank was fading, replaced by a plan. The next few months were just pure, back-breaking work. My hands got rough and calloused, but they were getting stronger too.
I turned every old piece of junk on this farm into a tool.
Every night, I'd head down to the creek to pan the ore. The water was freezing, but I didn't even notice it. I was just waiting for that first little shimmer of gold. And then, there it was, a tiny piece of gold right in my palm. It wasn't much, but it was everything I needed to see. It proved that Arthur's legend was real, and that I could do this. The silence started to get to me after a while. I'd find myself talking to Arthur, asking him why he did it. Was he really scared, or was he just greedy? Every little sound outside made me jump. I was always looking over my shoulder, waiting for someone to show up. I was terrified that someone would find out what I was doing. The winter storm nearly tore the barn apart. I spent days fighting the wind, just trying to keep the roof up. That's when I realized this place wasn't a burden anymore. It was my home. After a year, I finally had enough gold to make a difference. I could pay off the bank and finally get some real equipment. For the first time in forever, I felt like I could breathe again. I went to a refinery hundreds of miles away, using a fake name. The guy behind the counter looked at me like I was crazy. But when the money hit my account, I knew I was finally free. With the money finally in the bank, I decided it was time to find out where Arthur actually went. I hired a private investigator to track him down, keeping everything quiet so the neighbors wouldn't start talking. He hadn't gone to some tropical island or lost his memory. He just started a whole new life a few states over with someone else. It was a quiet, boring life, completely disconnected from everything we had here. The investigator found this letter he never sent, hidden away in some old storage unit. It was a long, rambling confession to his new partner about the farm and the gold. He was terrified of the place, convinced the gold was going to bring us nothing but ruin. He actually thought he was doing me a favor by leaving me behind with the farm? He figured I'd just give up, sell the place for pennies, and walk away. He never thought I'd find the gold, and he definitely didn't think I'd have the guts to fight for it. All the anger I'd been holding on to just kind of faded away. I realized he wasn't some evil mastermind, just a scared, superstitious guy who couldn't handle his own family's history. He chose his own safety over our life together, and he let his fear win. It was a cowardly thing to do, but it was human, and honestly, it just makes the whole thing even sadder. I never reached out to him, and I never told him what I found. He'd already moved on to a life he preferred, and I had built something of my own, right here. This place used to feel like a prison, but now it's my home. I fixed up the house, and the barn is still standing, keeping its secrets safe underground. The gold and what Arthur did will always be my secret. It was a heavy burden, but it's what made me who I am today. The farm and the land aren't a curse anymore. They're my legacy. Could you have done it? Could you have found the strength to rebuild your whole world, knowing what was hidden right beneath your feet? I stand here in the quiet, feeling the weight of everything that's happened. This place used to feel like a prison, but now it's just part of my story. My hands aren't soft anymore, but they're strong. I've learned to take care of what I've got, and that's enough. Looking out at these fields, I see more than just crops. I see the work I put in and the life I've built for myself. This old tree has seen it all, hasn't it? It's stood here through everything, just like I have. I've got everything under control now. It's funny how things turn out when you stop running and start fighting. I look at that girl and I barely recognize her. She had no idea what was coming, but I'm glad she made it through. The stars look different out here, don't they? They're just like me, I guess. Still shining no matter what. I'm not looking back anymore. I've got a life to live, and I'm gonna make it count. Everything is just as it should be. I'm finally at peace with it all.
Tomorrow is a new day, and I'm ready for it.
I've done it. I've really done it. The morning light hits the kitchen just right. It's quiet here now, in a way that feels like peace. I look out at these fields, and I don't see the struggle anymore. I just see what I built with my own 2 hands. The barn used to feel like a prison. Now it's just a part of the story I'm still writing. It's still down there, waiting. But it doesn't own me anymore. I've learned that you can fix almost anything if you're patient enough. You just gotta be willing to put in the work. Everything's running just like it should. It's a good feeling, knowing I did this. The past doesn't haunt me anymore. I'm finally free to be who I want to be. I'm writing it all down so I never forget. Not just the hard parts, but the strength I found along the way. It's a beautiful life, even with all the scars. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I'm ready for whatever comes next. I've got everything I need right here. I look up at these old beams and finally see them for what they are. They've held up this roof for 200 years, through every storm and every secret. It's quiet in here, but it doesn't feel like a prison anymore. This spot used to be the source of all my nightmares. Now it's just a reminder of how far I've come. He was so scared of what was underneath, but I'm not. I still keep his journal, not because I'm missing. It's just a record of his obsession, a map of his fear. Reading these pages, I finally understand why he ran. The past is buried deep, and that's exactly where it belongs. I'm done living in the dark, wondering about what could have been. It's time to focus on what's right in front of me. This old tree has seen it all, hasn't it? It's been here through the good times and the bad, just like me. We're both still standing, and that's what matters. I never thought I'd be a gardener, but here I am. There's something about working the soil that just clears your head. Every little thing I grow is a victory. I've built something real here, something that's all mine. It wasn't easy, and it definitely wasn't what I planned. But I wouldn't trade this life for anything. It's time to close this chapter and start a new one. I've learned so much about myself, about what I'm capable of. I'm not the same person who stood in this kitchen a year ago. I'm writing this down so I never forget. Not the pain, not the fear, but the strength I found. This is my story, and I'm the one who gets to tell it. I'm ready for whatever comes next. I've faced the worst, and I'm still here. I'm finally home. The house feels different now. It's not a place of shared dreams anymore. It's my sanctuary. The fields look different today. They're not just land anymore. They're my future. There's always something to fix around here. But I don't mind the work. It keeps me grounded. This place still holds so many secrets. But they don't scare me anymore. Whew, I've made my peace with them. The soil is ready for the new season. It's been a long year, but we're finally seeing the results. The sunset is beautiful tonight. That's a good way to end the day. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Time to wrap things up. It's been quite a journey. I'm ready to close this chapter. I've learned so much about myself. I'm stronger than I ever thought possible. And I'm not afraid of the future. It's done. I'm finally at peace. Whatever comes next, I'm ready. This is my home, and I'm not going anywhere. I've finally found my place. I find myself back in the barn, where it all started. The silence here feels different now. Less like a prison and more like a sanctuary. My hands are calloused now, but they're strong. This slab used to be a source of fear, but now it's just a part of my history. I look out at these fields and I don't see debt anymore. I see a life I built with my own 2 hands. Everything is growing just like it should.
It's amazing what a little bit of care and a lot of hard work can do.
The evenings are the best part of the day. Everything is quiet, and for once, I don't feel like I'm running from anything. I've written it all down, every single bit of it. It's a heavy story, but it's mine. I think I'm done with the past now. It's time to look forward. This land is mine, and I'm not going anywhere. I've finally found my place in the world. It's been a long road, but I'm finally home. I think I'll sleep just fine tonight. Everything is exactly as it should be. I'm finally free. The sun's finally hitting the floor. It's a new day, and for once, I'm not waking up to panic. Coffee's gonna be ready in a minute. It's funny how the little things feel so different now. Look at this place. It's finally mine in every way that counts. We've both been through a lot, haven't we? But we're still standing. It's all tucked away now, safe and sound. There's something about working the dirt that just clears your head. Everything's growing exactly like it should. I never thought I'd find this kind of peace. But here I am. Time for a little reading. It's the best part of the day.
It's not much, but it's home.
And it's exactly where I'm supposed to be. Good night, farm. I'm finally home. I look at this floor, and I don't see a trap anymore. It's just wood and dirt, but it holds a lifetime of lessons. This creek used to be where I hid my work. Now it's just a place to breathe. I don't need these notes to remember what I'm capable of. The secret is mine now, and that's enough. Everything here grew because I refused to let it die. It's a good feeling, knowing I built this. The silence used to scare me, but now it's just company. I've finally made peace with everything that happened. I look in the mirror, and I recognize who's looking back. I'm not that scared librarian anymore. Everything is locked up tight. Time to get some rest. It's quiet now. I'm finally home. This land has seen a lot of history, but it's got a future now. I didn't just survive. I made it mine. I stand here by the old oak, feeling the weight of everything that's happened. It's funny how this tree has seen it all, just like me. The fields are finally thriving again. I put in the work and it's all paying off. It's quiet in here now, just the way I like it. I've built a life that's all my own. Some secrets, they just become part of who you are. I'm not running from anything anymore. I never lost that part of myself, the one that loves a good story. These books, they kept me sane when everything else was falling apart. There's nothing like the air out here at night. It's finally mine. All of it. I did it. I actually made it through. Whatever comes next, I'm ready for it. Time to rest now. Tomorrow is a new day, and I'm ready for it. It's a good life. This one I've made. And it's all mine. I'm Elara, and I'm still here. And I'm not going anywhere. I stand here in the quiet, looking at the floor. It's hard to believe how much this place has changed me. The gold is still down there, but it doesn't own me anymore. I'm the one who decided what to do with it. These old tools saw me through the worst of it. They're not just rusted metal anymore. They're part of my story. The air feels different out here now. It's like the whole place is finally breathing again. I used to think this place was a prison. Now I know it's the only place I ever want to be. It's quiet in here, but it's not lonely. I've finally made peace with everything that happened. There's always another story to read, but I'm pretty happy with the one I'm living right now. The sun's going down on another good day. I think I'm gonna be just fine. It wasn't easy, but I made it through, and I'm stronger for it. This is my home, and I'm not going anywhere.